Welcome to Heller's Kitchen again. As you can see, it looks like a little bit of a disaster in here today. I'm already covered in flour. That's just another day in Heller's Kitchen. It is Thursday, January 3rd, 2020, and I am making orange and cranberry scones for the first time. Because remember, it's the year of trying new things. So they're already in the oven baking. So let's flash back a little bit to what I've been up to. First of all, this morning I put 3/4 of a cup, which is 3 sticks of butter in the freezer to get them nice and hard. I had read online to try and use a box cutter to get them into these tiny little pieces. That did not work. So I just cut them into a very, very rough chop and put them back in the fridge in a bowl, from the freezer to the fridge in a bowl to keep them cold. Then to the mixer I added flour, sugar, salt, and baking powder. I got that mixing up with the orange that I had zested to get a nice tablespoon of very fragrant orange. And as that mixed, I pulled the butter out and started putting little tiny chunks in, a little bit at a time, letting them separate and get covered with flour. And I kept beating it on a low speed until I had what they say are pea size. Mine were irregular at best. To that, I added 4 eggs that I whisked and a cup of heavy cream. And when I added that to the dough, it instantly turned into a big pile of dough on my dough paddle. And so, for this video, we're going to go a little bit in reverse now and see what happened to this moment where I created this mess in the kitchen and covered myself in flour. But the good news is I have the scones baking and the timer is set and has 16 minutes left to go. I'll see you back here. We're going to whisk together 4 eggs and a little bit of cream and add it to our flour mixture. I'm going to give them a quick whisk. Slowly pour it in. And then very quickly thereafter, we're going to add cranberries and a little bit of flour and a little bit of pecans. All right, light whisk. Add a cup of cream to that, and that's going to make a really pretty batter. It's going to look wet, and the butter's going to look a little juicy in there, but I'm pouring it in slowly, and it's instantly turning into a lovely dough. I'm going to turn the speed down a little bit because we're getting a nice dough. Grab a bowl really quickly. There's some nice organic dried cranberries from Whole Foods. We'll grab a cup of those. Pretty. 1/4 cup of flour. And some of my caramelized pecans. I think that'll just add a nice nutty texture to our scones. Give that a quick mix, but it's generally right into the dough. And soon we're going to be ready to roll out some scones and get them in the oven. the oven preheating to 400 degrees. I have some flour out. I have my French ruler and my fluted cutter for the dough. And here comes the magic moment. I'm going to take the dough out and bring it over here and see what happens. If I can get the dough. Come on, dough, let's come play over here. All right, so we got a big old wad dough. It's pretty exciting. I've never made scones before or anything like it. All right. We've got this beautiful orange zest in there, giving it a nice, pretty color. And I'm just pulling the dough off the paddle. And I think there's some really tasty little nuggets down on the bottom of the pan that I want to get out. I want all those delicious organic dried cranberries. Oh yes. And little pecan pieces. Yep, more dough. More scones. All right, so here we go. Look at that. It's a whole lot of batter. Put these guys over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is just get this dough into a nice formation so I can even think about rolling it out. We're going for 3/4 inch thick. It's pretty thick dough. So we're not rolling a really thin dough here. And I want to have plenty of flour down. I want to keep this dough moving so that it doesn't stick. I also don't want those little pea-sized pieces of butter to melt. So my hands are my enemy right now. All right, so it looks pretty. All right, so let's see if we can do a little bit of rolling. And I should get 12 to 16 scones based on this. I'm not having to roll too much on this, but I do want to keep it moving so that it doesn't start sticking. And you reach a point where you don't want to roll away from the center too much and get it too thin. Now look, I see some pieces over here are just going to have a lot more nuts to them. But that's pretty much what I'm looking for in thickness. So let me get some flour on my cutter. I have my pan with parchment paper. And voila, we have our first scone. Wow! I love geometry, so for me I'm going to try and use as much of this surface of the dough as I can to avoid having to roll it out more and manipulate it more. Come with me. But they're coming out very nicely. It's really actually quite pretty. And I think a scone is such a delicate dessert. Everybody can appreciate. This would be high tea, breakfast time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish measuring these out. I'm going to pop them in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes till they're golden brown on the top. And then I'm going to make an icing to go on top of them. Now there is one more step before I put them in the oven to bake. I'm going to put a little bit of an egg wash on top of them and sprinkle them with some more sugar. I know, that's all we need is a little more sugar. But it is a scone, and we're trying to make the most delicious little snack for my friends at work tomorrow for all the hard work they've done this week at Sur La Table. All right, right, so I'll see you back here once they're coming out of the oven. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen. All right, so I'm back now. I have taken the scones out of the oven, and here's a close-up of one. I waited until they were golden brown in my oven at 400 degrees. That was about 23 minutes. And I did, because I had them on 2 different racks, I rotated them out halfway through so they kind of get evenly cooked. And they look pretty even, although in general some of them puffed up a good amount. And others were kind of flat. I think these were the 3 on that 3rd roll of the dough, and that just goes to show you that over time the butter starts melting. So they need to cool for 15 minutes, and while they cool, I'm going to make an icing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze my orange that I zested earlier, get the juice out. Nice fresh orange juice. I need 4 teaspoons, but I might more than that. I really am going to work until I see that I have the right consistency. So I'm going to do that, and now I'm going to take my good old confectioner's sugar, the sweet of the sweetest. I think I just got a text. No, my watch just said I met my movement goal for today. So I'm doing a half a cup of confectioner's sugar. And I'm rough measuring this. I'm not going to kill myself over it, basically because I'm really just going to whisk it until I have the consistency that I want that's going to behave like icing. So I'm going to start off with 4 teaspoons of orange juice. I don't know what that was. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go ahead and add 5 just because I can already tell that that looks a little too thick. And then I'm using my copper whisk again. But as you can see, it's making a nice icing. But I think it's not loose enough to really come out in strips and stripes like I want it to. So I can already tell. Use a little cook's judgment. I'm just pouring the rest of that orange juice in there. So we give this another whisk. A little more runny now. I don't want it too runny, and I don't want it to not run at all. A little too runny. Simple fix. Just add a little more confectioner's sugar to it. So this is really just a give and take of just doing it until you have the right consistency that you want. A little more sugar. The other reason why I'm not so worried about making more than I really need, I'm going to put it in the piping bag and I'm going to lose some of it just to the surface of the piping bag. All right, let's go. Okay, it looks right to me. See what that looks like. It still looks drippy, but I think as it sits, it's going to get nice and solid. So let me take a look at the timer. We've got about 4 minutes before I can ice them, which hopefully is enough time for me to do what I need to do. So I'm going to take the end of my piping bag. Where is my little insert for the piping bag? Did it roll away? Did it have like a little fiesta during my cleanup? Why, yes it did. Let me wash it. All right. So I'm just going to cut off a little bit of the end. Start less is better in the beginning. So I'm just going to cut off this much. I'm going to drop this guy down in there. Push it down, push it down, push it down. And I just want the tip to stick out a little. What I can see, I'm going to have to cut this bag a little more. What I want to do is create a seal between the plastic and the piper that doesn't leak. I've already created a problem. My fingernail cut a hole in the bag, so I must start over. Start over again. That's all right, because that's what really happens in the kitchen when you're goofing off and doing things. I've never used this until over Christmas when we made gingerbread cookies. They were quite lovely, but my daughter set up the piping bag. All right, let's do it again. So I'm going to cut off a little bit more this time, but not too much. And I'm going to be mindful of my fingernail puncturing a hole in the bag, because that serves me no purpose. So what I want is this silver tip to be poking out, but I want the plastic of the bag to form a hard seal. I'm going to roll this down. Roll it down. Roll it down. And I think we're going to be good to go. All right. So I'm going to take my icing. I'm going to pour it in here. And this is where I'm not worried about having too much, because I'm going to lose it in the bag, inevitably. Yeah, it's already coming out. All right. So my goal was to make these pretty little stripes, and I'm doing it. But it, because the icing is so thin and runny, maybe made it too thin. It's just coming out by gravity with no hurt required by me. I think it's just a pretty little piece to put on the top. Kind of makes it like a glazed biscuit. Now it's asking me to squeeze a little bit. So the real test is going to be, how do they taste? Because I didn't tell you why I'm making these little treats. So today is Thursday, the 23rd. Yesterday, the 22nd, at Sur La Table, I went to work at 5 in the morning. We did inventory. And then we all went home and took a nap because it was such a long day. Today I had the day off, but tomorrow morning I go at 6 a.m. because we have our shipment coming in. So we squared our inventory on Wednesday, and voila, we'll get new pallets tomorrow morning with new inventory. Everybody worked really hard yesterday, and so I would like to bring these in tomorrow, assuming they pass the test, just to thank everybody for their hard work that they do and making the cooking experience in our community a really exciting proposition. So, I'm going to have to try one now and see if it passes the test to be able to go in tomorrow. Oh my goodness. It's super light and fluffy, like a biscuit. Like a homemade biscuit texture. And that icing on the top, that thin little coating, just gives it this extra little sweet pop. The cranberries, you can taste the pecans, and hint of orange. I think next time, instead of a tablespoon of orange zest, which was 1 orange basically, I think I'll use 2 to infuse that flavor a little bit more. But the good news is I made scones for the first time. So welcome to 2020 in Heller's Kitchen, where it's all about trying new things in a new year, making a mess, cleaning it up, and getting to enjoy tasting and sharing all of your hard work. Have a great day, everybody. I can't believe I made that. Wow.